Call to order.
Kara Kasten. Here. Ken Dawson.
Here.
Chris Espinoza.
Here.
Sherelle Fuller. Present. Jenny Hagstrom.
Here.
Terry Pavasich.
Here.
Don Runner.
Here.
And Jan Hunchie.
Here.
Thank you.
We have a quorum. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Good evening. Moving to item number 3 on the agenda. Can I get a motion for approval of the minutes for the May 15th, 2023 business meeting, the May 15th, 2023 organizational meeting, business meeting, the May 15th, 2023 closed meeting, and the June 5th, 2023 closed meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Chris first and Jenny second.
Thank you. Chris Espinoza.
Aye.
Jenny Hagstrom.
Aye.
Terry Pavasich.
Aye.
Kara Kasten. Ken Dawson.
Aye.
Sherelle Fuller.
Aye.
And Don Renner.
Aye. Motion carries. Julie, item number 4, reception of visitors. We have any public comment?
No, sir.
Okay, seeing none, we'll move on.
Before we do that, I have a quick recognition, because this is Mark's final board meeting. So, 29 years of board meetings. He's seen more than his fair share.
Like 50.
So, opportunity for me publicly, we've had lots of celebrations of Mark this spring, probably not enough to celebrate all that he's done for the district and for the profession. One of the things that I like to let people know is that I first learned of Mark and his work in the late 90s when PTEL, the tax caps, came about. And I was a graduate student trying to understand them, and there was all of this information, and Mark's name was all over it, explaining how to work inside of it and how a district should be structured inside of it. And then after that, he continued to update everybody on CPI and trends and how that was all working. So long before I even knew of District 99, I knew of Mark. Mark has been amazing for District 99, leading us through multiple building projects, multiple teacher and support staff contracts, all of the waves of state funding, when it was going to come, if it was going to come, over all of those years, making sure that District 99 was strong fiscally in so many ways over so many years. So, Mark, thank you for all you've done for the district.
Thank you.
Also retiring in a couple of weeks is Rod Rousseau. He's not with us this evening. He's probably playing in a municipal band somewhere. His evening schedules are very full, but Rod's been with us, I think, 27 years, 26
I
or
think 2 years, I saw it.
27 years. So, and he led us through all of the changes that happened with technology and internet and Chromebooks and all of that. And you can blame Rod for me being here, because it was a lot of collaboration between District 207, where I was before, and District 99 as Google showed up and Chromebooks and whatever, that really helped me understand what District 99 was all about and made me interested in the district. So blame Rod when you see him. But he is also fabulous within our district, but within the profession as well. Is highly regarded as one of the experts in cybersecurity in the school setting in the entire country. So we've been lucky to have him for all these years, and he will be missed as well. All right. Getting through my slides here. All right, superintendent's reports. The first one is progress on the T99 construction project. And Jim's going to walk you through a few things here.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. We're moving. We're doing great out there. Progression is ahead of schedule at this point. The house, and you'll see in the pictures at the end, is gone. So we have a big area that for our parking lot, and construction workers, Nicor Gas, Commonwealth Ed, the neighbors. It has been very smooth, and I'm happy to report that. Knock on wood, I know. But we're doing great, and the structure's up. Now we can start working inside and start working on the parking lot. So things are going well, so we're on time. Change orders have been minimal. We had some soil contamination. We took care of that. It was not a huge amount of money. It could have been worse. Now that we are putting the new construction up, I feel much better with change orders, because usually with new construction, it's very small when you're getting into spaces that you're building compared to going into spaces that you don't know what you're going to get into. So change orders have been minimal. We also had a hiccup with the asbestos in the home. That's why the home didn't go down at the scheduled time. It was a couple weeks afterwards. We found some in the attic and in the basement. We had to abate that and then get a 10-day clearance. So we finally brought that down about a week and a half ago. So all went well. It was a few $100 for the removal. Could have been a lot worse. Budget, we're slightly under. We've purchased many of the FF&E items, which are kind of the last things that we're ordering, and all that's on order now. We have a few miscellaneous things, but that was the one that you don't know how much more we're going to need in the rooms and the big spaces. But furniture pricing came in good. We used a lot of state pricing contracts for that. So we're good on budget at this point. Completion, we are on target. We want to complete by the beginning of August and get those kids and staff in there and start the fall semester. So a lot's going to happen in the next 2 months. So if you get a chance, drive by there and see all the activity and see the changes each week. So many things change in just a few days. So we can go to the pictures, and compliments of me using the White and Company drone. I figured, why not get some aerial? I don't know if anyone in here has used the drone and took pictures. It is really cool. I learned a lot. But this is the structure looking southbound. As you can see, the walls and roof are up, and the front entranceway. So it looks pretty big. I was telling Hank when we first sat down here tonight, God, those pictures, it's 5,000 square feet, but it certainly looks like it's bigger because the original structure is 10,000 square feet. But I think it's the overhang and all that, so it's roughly over 5,000, but it looks good and it looks big. And as you can see, the parking lot's already molding into bringing stone in, and we're going to start working on that in pavers in July. Just a different angle, looking eastbound. Again, don't realize how big that plot of land is next to it for the lot. There's a structure looking westbound, the overhang entryway, which the turnaround there where the drop-off is, and to the right of that will be the sign for T99, and then the parking lot for 60-plus parking spots. Getting all the stuff inside. Once you get a roof over it, now you can start working inside because the weather won't be an issue. So I'm glad to get that going. And then the last one is all the plumbing work. Getting it all down, and we actually poured last Thursday and Friday, so there is the cement floor. So like I said, we're moving. We're doing great, and the weather's been fantastic. Dry and moving right along. Questions on T99?
How have relations been with neighbors? Any complaints, any concerns about noise?
Actually, the complete opposite. I always knew that the neighbor to the north of the property didn't come to the neighborhood meeting, and we didn't get a lot of feedback from him and her, but she's been fantastic. I've talked to her a few times, and she's just excited. She is glad that the house is gone and looking forward to having the parking lot. So And then the person that's on the west side, haven't seen him. He's got a little business, and he's kind of out of the way. So all in all, it's been great. And Omega's also helped us with a little bit of parking here as we needed it through the end of the school year. Because we started this, remember, around spring break or a little before.
Will there be any landscaping added on the north side of the parking lot to break up the transition from the parking lot to the neighbor's lot?
Will it also be the fence
There'll be a
that we're
fence.
putting in, that we're paying for?
Okay.
The landscaping's really around the sign and on the building north side. So
Okay.
that's kind of village, they want you to do that. So we probably have more than what I would want, but it'll look good.
All right, any other questions for Jim? All right. Jim has a couple other items here. First one is bulk purchasing of supplies.
So many years ago, I decided to not have the schools directly purchase supplies for their buildings because you get just overpriced and many vendors and different products. So I consolidated all that and bulk purchased everything. And throughout the years, we've really grown. We went from custodial supplies, we went to ground supplies, salt, fertilizer, and now we've even added filters. And we're using MERV 8, MERV 7, so we're still trying to keep our air quality as clean as we can. So the filters are a little more expensive, but the quality of filtration in our air handling system is advanced to what we've had in the past. So I think the program has worked. We have many people that are interested in putting in bids each year, and they wait for this time of year, which is nice. Then they kind of leave you alone the rest of the year. If you need the product, they hold that price. If we need more of a certain product, they keep that price for a year, so that's nice. So we had specifications put out, and it's a huge list. We had 18 vendors submit. Those are the low prices for the vendors. And we received the bids, and we feel that the lowest prices meet our requirements, so we had to check through each one. So tonight, we asked the board to approve award of contracts for the custodial maintenance grounds to those vendors in the aggregate amount of $209,764.31.
Questions for Jim?
Are they mostly vendors we've worked with in the past?
They are.
Brand new ones?
Some are new, the filter ones, a couple are new. The Ninja de-icer is a new one. They came in good on a couple of our calcium chloride salt, so 'cause those are expensive to do on sidewalks. But the other ones are pretty familiar, and each year usually win something on the bid.
All right, anything else for Jim on this one? All right, Jim has the next one. It's the one everybody looks forward to every year, copy paper.
This
day.
is so exciting. I could talk all night on copy
Please don't.
paper. I will not. So each school, we get a list of what they have in stock. If the last couple of years, we depleted a lot of our stock that was in our garages, in our buildings. So the last couple of years, we did not spend as much. This year, we need to replenish, so it's a little higher. But hold that note, because last year I went to the state bid because the pricing from our bid that we put out was higher than the state pricing. This year, it's the complete opposite. So we really had aggressive bidding, and we have vendors that are going lower than state pricing. So this year, again, we're doing recycled paper. We had 5 bidders, familiar with them all. 4 of them came in with low bids for white and colored paper, so we segregated and gave the low bid to the color paper to specific vendors. So all in all, they meet our requirements a little more than last year, but again, we're replenishing and still under our estimate of what we thought the budget would be. So tonight, we're asking the board to approve the award of contract to those 4 vendors for lowest bid, meeting our specs for copy paper in the aggregate amount of $84,911.08.
Questions questions on paper. I will recognize Jim's work on this. Most school districts would just take the state bid and wouldn't do the work to get the lower amount, but Jim does the work. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
All right, turf and track replacement at North and South High. I think Jerry and Jim might be teaming up on this one.
Sure. So last November, when I presented capital projects for this year and this summer's work, we had a slide up that kind of pre-told you that our turf and track replacement is in need, and we need to do that within the next couple of years. We built them in 2011. Normally, the lifespan for reskinning a turf field is 8 to 10 years. We got beyond that, and I think that has a lot to do with the maintenance that we do every year, every summer, and even sometimes late fall or in spring, to do repairs and infill and keep them well maintained. So I think that gave us a lifespan of a little longer. We're looking at doing this next summer, so that would be 24. That's 13 years. Not many schools could say that they had their fields last that long. Same with the tracks, because usually when you do the track and the field, you do it at the same time. I got an estimate from the companies, and this would be a state bid as well, because the renowned companies that do this work for most of the high schools, colleges in the area usually win that bid. So doing both schools at the same time will save us some money as well. We thought the total estimated cost would be much more than $2 million. We're at $2 million, maybe a little under. So we're thinking that next summer we're going to do this work for both schools. They'll be down for a couple months. And I want to hand it over to Jeree to talk about how we will finance this.
Well, and maybe we should just remind that we're talking about it now because we need to get on the schedule for next summer. If we wait, another few months, we probably would not get on the schedule for next summer.
They book very early.
Yeah. So since this is just the beginning stages of this, we're going to spend the next few months evaluating the financing options that we will be looking at. We anticipate that we're going to finance the project through maybe debt certificates or alternate revenue bonds. And we'll just make those payments out of our operating fund. So this would not go against the levy at all. It would just be on our part of our payments with our annual budget. We plan to bring back some recommendations, probably early spring, well before the project starts.
Jim, could you talk about the surface of the north track versus the south track? Because from what I was reading, the surface of the north track may have some undulations, or it's not necessarily even. Can you talk about that?
And that was back in the day when north was the marsh, where the bleachers, we had a lot of problems when we put the stadium bleachers in the squad rooms with the soil. And part of that was it was so soft. We had to reinforce all the structures and go really deep. I think it was like 30 feet we had to go down. Yep. So that side of, that would be the west side, those last couple lanes will need some reinforcement. So there'll be a little bit of work done. We can finally resolve that problem because the settlement now is much better at north, all the way back to the garage towards Ogden Avenue. So that's what that would be for. We need to make that repair because what we're seeing is if we don't do that and reinforce it, then after 4 or 5, 6 years, you're seeing that like a wave almost being, hot and cold brings that out.
Okay. So there are plans within the scope to address those issues?
Yes.
Okay, great. And the turf, we're talking about just the stadium turf because the turf fields are pretty brand new from the master facility plan?
Absolutely. And really, we got our wear and tear out. We're going to get some repairs done this summer, but these fields are ready to be done. Unfortunately, you have to do it in the summer. There's no other time really to do it. And as Jerry said, they schedule out a good year in advance. So we're bringing this to you now because we need to get on their schedule for next summer, otherwise we'll miss that timeline. So both fields, in zones and in some parts, we fix the rips, we add the infill, we do the best we can, but they're in need. They're not unsafe, but they're ready. We'll get 1 year out of it, but we can't go past next year.
How's the technology of the field improved since we did this? I would imagine pretty significant.
Different fibers. We'll have a lot of, some athletic directors like soft grass, some like it a little harder, playing field, some like it higher, at 4-inch, 3-inch, depending, and more infill. So I remember doing both of them, and the south side of town wanted a little softer, and they went a little harder, and we'll let the schools chime in and see what they would want to
Is
do.
that the athletic director's call who does that, or is
I'm
it like-
involved in that as well, but it's partly them and coaches that are on the field, not just with football, but soccer and PE as well, because, one team's on it, PE's on it all the time, soccer's on, there's so many different, lacrosse, there's so many teams on it, we kind of get all that input and then make a decision from there.
Are there some turfs out there now that are deemed safer than others or higher quality?
You kind of pick your poison. From my perspective, the softer ones twist ankles more. The harder ones, then you get different knee injuries. So there's nothing out there that this is the most safe field. It's more of the quality of blend of grass and how much infill you want to put in to make it faster or slower or higher or lower. I don't think that anyone in the area or even college pro level would say this is safer for injury. Hope I answered that. There's really, otherwise everyone
definitely
would be doing that.
Got it.
Is the track surface the same? Are you
Yes.
It's going to be the same as it is now?
The only thing that changes are color and handoffs for relays and all those tick marks that you want to put in there, and how far do you want to go with that. But it's really the color. What color do you want your track,
Are you guaranteeing faster times on the track?
2/10 on the 100-meter, easy.
We're gonna have 2 seniors by the time this track is done.
So during the course of construction, have we thought about what the athletes are going to be doing as far as where they will be going to get their workouts in or what have
That's a
you?
very good question. We haven't gone to that level yet of how we're gonna, having other fields helps to displace students in camps, because that's gonna be the major impact, is the camps. So we'll have alternate areas, and we haven't, off-site, I don't know, we haven't talked through that, possibly using other fields. Thank God we have so many fields now that we can use, but we haven't had that discussion yet on how or where we're gonna put everyone.
We could definitely, though, limit our ability for the community to use our fields and those kinds of things over the course of next summer. Because we're gonna have to use all of our spaces for our programming probably.
Yeah.
So.
So it could start like after graduation and be finished by the first
Yes.
football game, basically? or-
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
As long as we're not doing underneath water, that's where it gets to be. Just reskinning is actually a pretty quick, and I've seen them do complete tracks in a couple of weeks, few weeks. They just come, they hit it, they go, the next guys come, they paint it, then they line it, and they're gone. They're really good. Yes.
Would the turf replacement also include, I know at North we have the west field, would it include that field too, and like the?
It would
fields
not.
after that? Okay.
Just the main competition fields, yeah.
And I believe that west field, that turf field was, I could be wrong, but 3 or 4 years afterwards.
I think so. Yeah,
So
it's
that
not
would
as
probably
old
be
as
due
the-
up in the next 2, 3 years. And it's not used as much.
Right,
absolutely.
it's not used as much as the competition field, so.
Other
All right,
questions?
any other questions on this one?
We do have new personnel. A gentleman's going to be joining July 1st.
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine that he's going to have input on this project as well.
Absolutely.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right.
Dr. McGuire?
Okay, thank you.
Yep. All right. That is an action item this evening as well.
Have another question?
Are you still going on your stuff, or?
No.
Oh, I just wondered where we're at on the pool scoreboards.
Oh, I can give that quick update. They're ordered.
Okay,
We're gonna have them installed this summer. July 23rd.
okay.
So both schools, brand-new scoreboards, they will be ready to go. A little nervous about some of the other things going on with the pools right now, but as everyone in this room knows, and everyone out there knows, they are very hard to maintain and keep up, and every time you turn around, it's something else. It's difficult, but the scoreboards are a go. They're ordered. I've got nothing back, and I ordered so early that they may get them early and wait to install and keep them at their shop. Because my greatest fear is if we order, I don't want them coming in mid-August.
No.
I want them coming in mid-July. So
Yeah.
we're right on target.
Okay. Do you know who you ordered them from? Colorado?
Colorado.
You did, okay.
Both of them.
All right.
Exactly the same at each school.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, any other questions for Jen? All right, the next one, I believe, is Jerry's.
Last year, Chartwell's CEO came to visit both of the high schools and see the operations, and she was really impressed with both schools. However, when she was at South High School, she took a look at the servery and commented that it seemed to be a little outdated compared to North. And at the time, she said, well, maybe Chartwells could offer to invest in some equipment if we decide to update the servery. So this past year, we spent some time coming up with different ideas on how we might update it. And at the same time, we have equipment there that, do you know how old it is?
20 plus.
Yeah, so it needs to be replaced. It's really on its last leg. So between the two things, we came up with a plan and presented it to Chartwells. And they have offered to purchase 2 pieces of equipment for South High School if we would consider agreeing to a 2-year extension on our current agreement. I think it's a great opportunity for us. They've provided a really great partnership with the school, so it's something that we all recommend.
And this year, our sales were up by quite a bit.
Right, we should receive, well, it's over $100,000 in revenue from them. Which is
I
Great.
know. Wonderful
From Jenny's,
food. Yeah. Coffee bar. Yeah.
So typically, we would just renew on a 1-year basis?
Well, currently, the contract goes through, we have 2 more years on it.
Okay.
And so they're just asking if we would
Add
consider.
additional 2
Mhm,
on to the
yeah,
existing contract term?
Correct.
Okay.
Mhm.
Because we would have waited until next one, right? If they want to ask
We-
for the extension.
2 more years.
Okay. Oh, you would have got right to it.
Mhm.
And satisfaction from students is still high with Chartwells?
Yes, very
You don't
high.
see any reason to reconsider changing vendors at this point?
No. Also, they provide opportunities for our special needs students, which is really super.
Win-win.
Scott, do you want to speak on that at all?
Well, I mean, they have our multi-needs program works in the kitchen and at the schools, and so it's a great opportunity for them to get experience and actually be working and learning skills. And they created some videos. I think we probably shared them out already
Yeah.
a while back. The videos were amazing. just to showcase what they're doing. So I give credit to the buildings and the staff and the students. So it's been great.
Yeah, Chartwells has been an excellent partner.
Very innovative, so
Yeah.
we
They're at
appreciate it.
both schools,
Mhm.
it's the same
Yes.
partner, same.
Yeah. Other questions on this one? All right, this is an action item later this evening. Property and liability insurance renewals.
Yeah, I'll start that. Actually, there's heavily worded memo that goes along with this that for you to look at the history of how we've handled it here, and it's hopefully written more plain than some of the things we have to go through, and no offense, but to the attorneys that put together the increases for us. There's really 4 key things in that memo that I want to point out in case you didn't already know. District 58 and 99 once had the common administration, and they're worked together. And there's still a lot of things that we do together that make sense. And one is we join together to send out quotes for insurance. And what that helps with is it gets us more people, bigger firms to come in and look at it. And it gives the insurance companies more areas where they can balance out their risks. And so it's a really useful tool for us, and we've been very successful with it. Right now, insurance is topsy-turvy. Everything is a bit heavier because of the problems we've had with property and that are different areas of the country have had all kinds of problems, and with high claims. So this is where it really does help to have it. So we bundle our stuff together. We buy common property, umbrellas, things that we can do that make a lot of sense for them to, again, assess their risk. And District 99 and 58 is one combined investment for them. Second point is workers' comp is pretty clearly the big feature here. It's about 50% of the total cost. It has active cost every year for us. We have injuries every year, but we handle them really well. And our experience has gone down, which is good. And we've been able to get the policy for that reduced actually this year by $36,000, just primarily because of the Armad where they're assessing our risk level. They're assessing it rather low because of us maintaining good control over incidents that happen. Third item to point out is Liberty Mutual. If you look at, we've got a lot of it with Liberty Mutual. We've been using them for 25 years. We've got a great history with them. When we come in and need to bring, quotes in, we need to get quotes on and renew our coverage. They work with us very well. They understand a school district very well, what our limits are. By doing that, again, we have one carrier can now balance between individual policies their risk, and we get very good prices from them. And the fourth item really just is the key thing for all of this. There's the chart on the back. We are seeing an 8.8% increase in insurance. We were expecting double-digit, even with our relationship with them. Part of that is, a good part of that is the workers' comp, that $36,000 savings in workers' comp, and their premium is a key thing that really kind of writes the whole decision process for us on this. So we're recommending that we accept the individuals, and some of these proposals are not fixed. They're like workers' comp gets adjusted at the end of the year for actual payroll compared to what we had to do is estimate our payroll to get an estimate for their charge for us. And so overall, 8.8%, we were really happy to get to that point. And we know it's higher than that CPI factor that I like to hold on to. But I think it's one of those things, this is really very good pricing for this market right now. We had 8 different companies come and look at workers' comp. So we do build, we do spread it out. We do have different brokers tell us where they want to, where they would be to take them. We have made changes in the brokers, or the companies in the past. But this worked out well again. It worked out well for us this year.
How do you derive the percentage that is split between 99 and 58?
It depends on some of it is 50/50, like liability coverage is 50/50, but typically, property
By
is
square
different
footage?
between the two. And, well, that's just been kind of a writing figure, and we probably have an undervalued property number that they're basing their claim on, or their quotation on. So we agreed to have, at the end of this next year, an appraisal by a well-known firm, Marsh and Lind, I think they know it, I don't know their name better. But Marsh is going to do a inventory of all the land and everything, the main areas of the buildings, and get us back into square one. And I think what will happen is our property values will probably go up, and I think our costs will go down. I think they've been padding the cost, rightfully so, because we just put $136 million worth of property out there.
Yeah.
And our fee didn't go up to reflect that. So I think we have some room in there. We've been getting a very low price for our building coverage. So most anything that deals with payroll is going to be that shift between the two of us. For like vehicles, it was done on actual vehicles for total fleet costs, and that's why you get some of these different numbers. But most everything we try and keep at 50% balance between each school.
Workers' comp is based on claim history between the two districts, or?
It is, and they know they also know our employee core, where we are in different sections. Higher risk, like custodial and maintenance, have a higher risk tied to them. So it goes down to the type of employee, not just the number of employees, to get their quote.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mark?
So are these all the companies that you're proposing? How many different carriers is it? It looks like there are some different ones for the special line.
How many?
How many total carriers is it that
The
district?
last sheet on it does,
Oh,
it will
it's
show you.
sorry. Oh,
The top
Seven
group, we
different
have
carriers.
6 of them, all with Liberty Mutual.
okay.
And then below that, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different other firms. And that's where we'll see changes between the carriers mostly, in those smaller parts. Workers' comp is the one with Encova that's new this year, with Encova. And I think it was new this year. I'm looking at Jerry, think.
Last year.
Yeah, okay, last year. It was new to us. So that's a number of different vendors that accepted or gave us proposals that we accepted.
All right, any others? All right, that is an action item this evening as well. The next one is actually Don's.
Sure. So, we polled, I polled the board members to look to assign to various committees. Chris and I will end up taking the policy committee. Ken is going to serve as the representative to IASB. Sherelle has stepped up and will take SACIT. Jenny's going to stay with LEND. Terry is going to stay with the Education Foundation, and Kara's going to join her. And then this year, the representative to the Plan Commission is from D58, which we'll be voting on tonight. But next year, Sherelle had indicated that she'd like to take that position, so I've got her slated for that. I do think we should look at this next year, and maybe give some individuals opportunities to join other committees, just to kind of rotate and get everybody some experience in the various committees. But for now, let's stick with this for the upcoming 23 to 2024 fiscal year.
All right. Next one is mine, end-of-year goal summary. This is in the board packet. It's, the public can review it as well. It was shared with the board last week. This is kind of like on display, kind of through the end of June, which is the end of our school year over the next few weeks. If any board members have feedback or questions or those kinds of things, feel free to reach out. I typically don't go through it. It's a lengthy document. The board has been tracking all of these goals over the course of the entire year. This is just the work that the board and the administration have been doing, just keeping track of our work over the year in a narrative form for the public to review more than anything. So this is the draft, and then sometime, after this, towards the end of this school year for us, which is the last week of June, or the start of the next one, Jill and I will do one final review of it, make sure that it is buttoned up, that we've factored in any feedback that's come our way. And then it'll go on our strategic plan website where these are all archived historically. This also serves as the beginning of our goal setting process for the next year. So as you review that document, probably more important for board members is looking at the areas that we identify are kind of remaining out there, next steps or future focus items. At the July board meeting, we will come and discuss the proposed draft goals for next year. We had an all-day work session on that with the administrative team. We have a half a day of it next Tuesday. Midweek, next week, I'll share that draft of next year's goals with the board to start gathering your feedback virtually, heading into a conversation about those goals in July. And then we come back at the August workshop. We will add an action item to approve those goals so that we have them in hand for when staff come back, we can share where we're at. We also plan on reaching out to the bargaining units over the next couple of months as we do this process to seek their feedback on those items as well.
Good idea.
So questions, comments, concerns on the end of the year goal summary? All right, thank you. The next one is an action item this evening as well. Oh, that's everything I just told you. Action item later this evening is social media litigation. So the board's attorneys and the administration recommends that the board adopts a resolution this evening, or it's two resolutions, that will join us into this class action around social media. This is very similar to what we did last year around vaping and that litigation that we're still involved in. The first one of those vaping litigations was finalized a few months ago, and it resulted in $85,000 coming to the district to offset costs related to vaping. There's still, I think, 2 more branches of that litigation out there. This would be very similar to that in that I spent maybe 3 hours of work in total documenting our work around vaping. We had a lot of it documented to begin with. Had to respond to a couple of surveys to join into that litigation. I've been told, and I watched a webinar on it from the board's attorneys, that it would be a similar amount of work leading into it, where we would document the work that we've had in place to respond to the increased amount of cyberbullying and discipline incidents related to social media. And a lot of this is brought on by the fact that the social media companies are very slow or completely non-responsive when we have bullying incidents that occur in the variety of social media sites that really cause an increased amount of staff time in responding to those issues, where if they were more responsive and just brought down postings when we let them know that it's negatively impacting the school environment, I don't think we'd be in this spot right now. So it's our recommendation that the board enters into these 2 resolutions to allow us to join into these class action lawsuits. Questions? I can do my best to play amateur attorney if you have them.
Other than vaping, is that the only other one?
That we've done in the past? Yeah, the only other one we've done in the past is related to vaping. So, this is from the same group that represented us in the vaping litigation.
Do you recall in the vaping litigation, the costs? Because this is obviously a contingency fee, but it does provide that we have to pay our portion of cost out of pocket. Do you recall if it being a significant amount in cost expenditures for vaping?
It all came from the proceeds of the,
So we weren't writing a check to
Nothing
cover
upfront.
advance costs?
no advance costs.
Okay.
It only came out on the end. So if I remember correctly, it was a little over 100,000 that it
It was
was
like 112 or
112 or something. And then in the
got
end,
down to
we're-
87.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I think it was around 112 or something.
I'd have to
And
look
then
it
it got
up.
down to
Yeah.
87 was our net.
Yeah, it was about $20,000 off of what we would have received if we received the whole package without costs of
I see.
attorneys, from what we actually received.
Okay.
But like I said, in total amount of work for me was like 3 to 5 hours of my work. For the district to receive 85,000, that's far higher than my hourly rate. Mark said just a little higher. So, I think it makes sense to do it. All right, last one, FOIA requests. We've received them as we regularly do and respond to them as we are required to, and they are all posted on our website.
Item 6, the consent agenda. I need a motion for the Board of Education to approve the consent agenda as presented, which includes A, a personnel report, appointment certified, transfer of position classified, appointment classified. B, personnel report, resignation, administration, retirement classified, resignation classified, release classified. C, May expenditures. D, SACID Board of Directors Governing Board Appointment Resolution. E, resolution of nomination for membership on the Downers Grove Plan Commission. F, property and liability insurance renewals. G, Treasury's surety bonds for 23-24. H, settlement agreement. And I, acceptance of donation from Mr. and Mrs. Srinivasan. I apologize for any mispronunciation.
So moved.
Jenny moves.
Second.
Second by Chris.
Thank you. Jenny Hagstrom.
Aye.
Christopher Espinoza.
Aye.
Sherelle Fuller.
Aye.
Terry Pavasich.
Aye.
Kara Caston.
Aye.
Ken Dawson.
Aye.
And Don Renner.
Aye. Motion carries.
And thank you to the Srinivasan family for their donation.
Item 7, recommendations for action. Item A, I need a motion for the Board of Education to approve award of contract for custodial, maintenance, and ground supplies for the 2023-24 fiscal year to the noted vendors in the aggregate amount of $209,764.31.
So moved.
Second.
Chris moves. Jenny second.
Thank you. Christopher Espinoza.
Aye.
Jenny Hagstrom.
Aye.
Terry Pavasich.
Aye.
Kara Caston.
Aye.
Ken Dawson.
Aye.
Sherelle Fuller.
Aye.
And Don Renner.
Aye, motion carries. Item B, I need a motion for the Board of Education to approve an award of contract to the vendors noted for copy paper for the 2023-24 school year in the aggregate amount of $84,911.08.
So moved.
Second.
Jenny moves,
Ken?
Ken seconds.
Jenny Hagstrom.
Aye.
Ken Dawson.
Aye.
Christopher Espinoza.
Aye.
Sherelle Fuller.
Aye.
Terry Pavasich.
Aye.
Don Renner.
Aye,
And Kara Caston.
Aye.
motion carries. Item C, I need a motion for the Board of Education to approve replacement of the turf and track at North and South High Schools and authorize the administration to sign and execute any documents necessary to implement the replacement.
So moved.
Second.
Chris moves, Ken seconds.
Thank you. Christopher Espinoza.
Aye.
Ken Dawson.
Aye.
Sherelle Fuller.
Aye.
Jenny Hagstrom.
Aye.
Terry Pavasich.
Aye.
Kara Caston.
Aye.
And Don Renner.
Aye. Motion carries. Item D, motion for the Board of Education to approve Amendment Number 2 to the food service agreement with Compass Group USA by and through its Chartwells division.
So moved.
Sherelle moves.
Second.
Second from Chris.
Thank you. Cheryl Fuller,
Aye.
Christopher Espinoza,
Aye.
Jenny Hagstrom,
Aye.
Terry Pavasich,
Aye.
Kara Caston,
Aye.
Ken Dawson,
Aye.
and Don Renner.
Aye, motion carries. Finally, item E, I need a motion for the Board of Education to adopt the resolution authorizing commencement of social media litigation.
So moved.
Sherelle moves.
Second.
Ken second.
Thank you very much. Cheryl Fuller,
Aye.
Ken Dawson,
Aye.
Christopher Espinoza,
Aye.
Jenny Hagstrom,
Aye.
Terry Pavasich,
Aye.
Kara Caston,
Aye.
and Don Renner.
Aye, motion carries. Is there any old business?
None.
Keely? None? Any new business?
I have none.
Moving to the second reception of visitors. Julie, do we have any?
No, sir.
No comment slips.
Okay. Then item 11, can we get updates from our various committees? Jenny from Lend?
Okay, so I can't find my update. The last meeting we had was May 19th,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Yep, May
And that was
19th,
the last
just
one.
before the budget was.
Yeah, yeah, so it was a little bit, that was in flux or uncertain at the time. It's been since signed. The guest speaker at the meeting was the state superintendent, Tony
Sanders.
Sanders, thank you. He was really interesting and a fun guest, just to hear about his background and childhood and how he got to where he is right now. And that was kind of the bulk of the meeting. They kind of took care of some administrative functions after that, creating the executive committee for the upcoming year, setting the meeting schedule and the dues, I believe. So we're off for a couple of months and start back in September.
Yep.
Thanks, Jenny.
Yeah.
We don't have a representative of SACID right now.
Actually, you do, you have me,
You.
because of the restructuring. At the last meeting, it's really just getting reorganized for this new governance structure moving forward. We're working through contract agreements with their bargaining unit, but really, it's a lot of just the restructuring of the organization and how it'll work. So I'm just dipping my toe into it, and it'll ramp up as next year goes forward.
Terry, can you give us an update on the Education Foundation, please?
Yes. At our last meeting, some folks went to the incubator presentations, and that is one thing that we really enjoy, seeing our students excelling in entrepreneurship. And so that is really very good, and hopefully we'll be doing that again next year. And we're also looking into different ideas for the Mark McDonald Scholarship and how we are going to put that out there. And just for a summary of our grants, this year we gave 16 grants for $13,000. So, our teachers receive those, and our students reap the benefits of that. So please be sure and keep up asking for the grants so that we can help more teachers. So that's about it.
Thank you, Terry. Chris, any update on IASB?
None so far, other than making sure everybody is registered for the convention in the fall, and to let Julie know as soon as you can.
The next upcoming board meeting of the Board of Education will be July 17th. That'll be the only board meeting in the month of July, and it'll be at 6:30 here at the Administrative Service Center. Lastly, we're going to take a motion to go into closed session. We will not be coming back out for any action items, so.
Other than to adjourn.
Other than to adjourn, okay. So I need a motion for the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, specific individuals who serve as independent contractors in a park, recreational, or educational setting, or specific volunteers of the district or legal counsel for the district, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee, a specific individual who serves as an independent contractor in a park, recreational, or educational setting, or a volunteer of the district, or against legal counsel for the district to determine its validity.
So moved.
Chris moves, Sherelle seconds.
Thank you very much. Chris Espinoza,
Aye.
Sherelle Fuller. Aye. Jenny Hagstrom,
Aye.
Terry Pavasich.
Aye.
Thank you. Carrie Caston,
Aye.
Ken Dawson,
Aye.
and Don Renner.
Aye.
We're closed.
We are in closed.
We'll take a short break and be back in here.